Well, hello again, everybody, and welcome to Aquarius Rising Africa. It's Tuesday, Tom. Tom on Tuesday. Tom Tuesdays, whichever we should really coin a name for our shows together, Tom. You become part of the furniture already, and I think you deserve your own name.
That sounds so
So,
fun.
welcome back. Sorry.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it's great to be back. I love you guys. You guys are great. And it's like we get to experience growth and development and change. And it's like my background, blue pill. And it's like things are just it's like we're on a journey where things just keep getting stronger and better. And we just step down that path with the rest of the people that are part of
Yeah.
the
Excited to talk about our topic tonight, which is, I think, wow, there's so much happening at the moment. We know this. All we got to do is see what's happening on Twitter, the Twitter wars that go on.
Mhm.
Um, and I always say Twitter is very much, it's not really a South African thing. There are South Africans on, of course, but I know Twitter is loved by the Americans. And I
Mhm.
want to tell you, I've understood Twitter wars on a whole new level in the last few or month or year or so that I've been hanging around here. Very interesting. But what brings me to that point is there is so much infiltration happening and I wouldn't say just at the moment. It's always happened, but it's kind of been highlighted right now
Mhm.
by the alphabet boys and girls. We really when we're dealing with so much pain, trauma that have been inflicted upon people in over the last few decades, stuff that's coming to the fore now. It's like, who do we believe? How
Mhm.
do we tell the difference between who's your friend and who's your foe? It's so crazy out there. So, Tom, I know you've been around in this world for I wouldn't say four, let's say 3 decades, around about there. So I would love to hear from you, just your take on, let's talk about the infiltration that occurs.
Mhm.
Um, and I'm not talking about people spying on each other's countries now. I'm
Mhm.
talking about the current infiltration that's happening through social media, through the different platforms. Um, I don't even want to call myself part of the truther community because that's, in my opinion, a joke,
Mhm.
mostly.
Mhm.
So, okay, over to you. Enlighten us around these topics.
Well, like I said before we got on the air, it's like 3 decades I've been doing this and I'm still in school. I'm still learning. And one of the things I've learned is simplify and look for the markers. And one of the markers is the change in behavior. One of the things you'll notice is those that infiltrate will be sugary sweet. It's almost like an abuser, sugary sweet.
Love bombers.
Love
They'll
them.
they'll come and love
Oh,
bomb you. Yeah.
they're the best. And they want
Mm.
your attention. And suddenly this arrogance, anger, attack happens. It's like, gaslighting. It happens.
But
And
that would happen, but surely that would usually happen, let's say, after they can't get what they want, because
after, yes,
it's like from what I'm seeing, it's a whole seduction process that occurs.
mhm,
It's like if someone wants to get, I mean, and I've certainly had this just from people um, wanting to come onto my shows or wanting me to go onto their shows and stuff like that. Thank God, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart, I'm pretty intuitive. And I don't say I get it right all the time, definitely not. But when I'm uncertain and it's like me intuitively, it's like a bad smell. It's like sometimes when I work with animals that are sick, I smell a bad smell. But it's not a physical smell, it's like an energetic smell. So sometimes I get that. And then I just step back and I observe. and something will happen that always just stops it from happening, from the connection from taking place.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, and that's what I look for. Um, but I also understand that for the general public, for our viewers, it is such a confusing time
Yeah.
out there right now, you know, with so many people coming with so many different opinions, and who's the witch and who's the warlock, and you know, witch hunts and religious nonsense like I've never. I mean, if only people. Okay, let me not go there. But what I'm saying is, it's on another level right now. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, you know, in that way, it's like crazy, right?
Right. And there's a key you can follow. I've learned now to look for it. It was very confusing. You get rattled and confused. Friendship. A lot of times the players involved will act as if they're your instant friend, just to add water, and they're friends. And it's almost like they act like they're your lifelong friends. Now, what you notice is in real friendship, like you, me, and Mornay, I feel we have this locked in friendship. You see at the core, we can't desert each other. We'll be there for each other and we'll stand strong. If we have a disagreement, we bounce back and we'll be like, yeah, okay. But the core thing is the friendship. Now, in these other players, that's not the core. The core is the gain and what they're doing to gain. And so they will chastise it. It seems counterbalanced to the friendship. It just seems like, do we have a friendship here? Why suddenly the wrath? Why suddenly so when they're not, like you said, when they're not getting what they want, there's this monstrosity, like a blow up that's like, what just happened? Accusations, you used me. So these things don't ring true with a friendship. You were snowed from the beginning, where our natures, those that have good natures, will embrace that offer of friendship, we'll explore it. We feel a little uncomfortable that it was so suddenly bestowed, you know, where it was like, where's the journey involved in that friendship? Why is it suddenly just instantly declared? And that's part of the tactic of the other side. They come in and they just up other way, like they're coming into your home, setting up the bed, setting up the room, and saying, "We've always been friends." So you watch for this pushiness and this arrogance, which is part of it, even if it's underlying and seems latent at first. It's there. The person will be talking about themselves a lot. They'll be and there'll be little digs and things. It's not really a friendship. Yet they will demand, if you like say you have airtime or something, they'll want that, they'll demand it. And I think the best way to understand it and grasp it and to be aware of it is to see one of the take an extreme and keep that in your mind of what it quacks like, looks like, acts like, and you have a model as a flag to watch for. And then also look at your true friends, those that, you know, you've been through disagreements, you've been through a development where that friendship organically seeded and grew, and you feel a heart value to it, an identity with it, almost like the knowledge of a child. That's our child. That's my child. You get this knowing involved, where there's no confusion at all involved. It's all just, I know this is my friend. I can count on
Yeah,
this. It's very important, that aspect, to defeat the whole playbook of the
yeah,
elite ball, is to have that, because isolation, alienation is part of their tactic. And they crowd out your true friends and loved ones by these people entering in, demanding your attention, albeit
so,
originally, you know, just subtly, but they're demanding it. They're taking up your time.
right. So the first thing is, don't be taken in by the love bombers, who will absolutely email you 5 times a day. Well, maybe not quite as extreme, whatever, but you know what I'm saying. Someone who suddenly has all this interest in you, wants to know all about you, your family, your life, whatever. Now, obviously, you know, that's also tricky, because naturally, let's say you meet someone nice, and it could be a really cool person, right? Whether it's in person or on air,
Sure.
and you want to start sharing things. I think it's always very good to be always have some distance, you know, share information that's kind of more superficial. as opposed to getting into the nitty gritties of what that can be. Because I'll tell you something, these people as well, they have no problem. I mean, I have, obviously we see a lot of this on our platform. I've had, I know some people with Jessie, for example, she'd be sending personal messages to friends, right? Next thing, these personal messages are like just all over the social media. So be very careful what you share, with who you share it. I mean, I've learned so much the past few years, doing this. You just got to be aware. My granddaughter had pictures of her sent all over the internet. So, social media, you can't, once you put something out there, you can't get it back. But also, more importantly, it's like, how do we as the general public recognize, let's say, these infiltrators in the truther community? So you're getting these people that have got their platforms, that are sharing information. No one really knows what's true and what's not true right now, Tom. Let's face facts. It's just a matter of really, I always go back to it being about discernment, using your intuition. But, let's just take it now as the viewers. How do we, the general public, recognize who of these guys are infiltrators with the platform sharing intel?
One of the things is people who are true will show their evidence. They want to show their evidence. They'll put it up there, and there'll be shills that will go after it. And they'll say, well, the date's, not the right date. And it's like, there's the date on this particular work, which precedes the shooting of the Matrix. So what you have is the evidence is shown. The other people will not show their evidence. They'll talk and say at face value. Otherwise, you're an affront to them. And it's like one of the things the truth community. Well, I'm debunked with the truth too. I'm done with it. I just want to just speak with good people and bring stuff forward because it's so infiltrated. But it's all about bringing forward what your mouth says. Show the evidence. Back it up. Back it up with some facts and some visuals that public can see. Don't just say stuff. That is a number one tactic by infiltrators. They just talk. And they get mad if you ask for evidence. They'll say things like, well, you don't show yours. Like, you can be holding it up, and they'll say that. It's like, I'm showing it. No, you didn't open it. I'm opening it. It's like, they still will. Here's what they do. They will bombard you at that point with where you don't get a word in, changing the subject, throwing things at you, accusations, talking points. You're just delusional. Barrage you where you don't get to bring it back to the rational side of things, where again, bringing it back to the evidence. So it's like this brown shirt bullying that goes on. If you're and they'll accuse you of trying to pin them down or something, when you're simply trying to say, let's just share our evidence. That's why I keep inviting Sophia Stewart through different hosts. Let's do a one-on-one on a program, and we'll go over our evidence. She'll never do it because those that are supplied by the other side never want to go there. That's not their job. Their job is to take up your time, shout you down, and win your trust and play you the wrong way. There's different players, different strata of players in different positions with different responsibilities in the cabal. And
I understand. Yeah, it's quite obviously. I know Jessie for us also over the past couple of years has broken down how the system is structured, which is very, very interesting. But of course, each region or whatever has its own way and its own people of being involved with that. Absolutely. So what's another interesting thing for me here is like, again, when we are looking at hosts and things on these shows, obviously, if they are CIA or Alphabet Boy assets, they are being handled. So there would be some kind of a thing that's going on. How do we recognize if someone is being handled? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Let's,
Yeah.
so if
Yeah.
we can,
You'll see a pattern at first. See, it's a process where it's almost like skiing down a hill, and it seems smooth at first, and they're behaving with you in a certain way that's there's some oddities at times. You'll spot oddities at times because their personalities usually when they're bought or supplanted, they're arrogant. There's arrogance always there. Something doesn't just seem right. It's like an Amway salesman where they'll ask you about your family and what's your life like? Do you have any pictures? And they cut it right away. Well, let's go to the sales. It's like, well, I thought you wanted to know about my family. We're going to the sales now. So they suddenly cut it like they just hit a ravine. And that's they're on their agenda. They're on their course. They're not very patient. So this plan of riding you to win your trust in order to, but always behind it is the agenda they have. And you spot that in the beginning stages. You'll see something doesn't seem right. They really don't seem that interested in what I have to say or what others have to say. They're really just seem like they're driving something to a particular need or point they want to get to, throughout this relationship, if you can call it that. And then the bottom drops out. But I noticed that topics, they'll lead topics. Fishing is part of their thing, where they'll go, can you send me your screenplay? I want to read it. First of all, in this case, I don't have time to send my screenplay out to every person. It's for the documentary team who has it, reads it, knows it, understands it, vets it, and is putting it together for the documentary, and then we'll release it for the public. But that's one of the things they do. You'll see the similarity among the players involved in your circle. Each player will ask for the same thing. They'll push for the same thing in the same way with the same verbiage. And that is a big clue. The cabal is after something, right? FBI, CIA wants something. Free discovery. They want to know what you have, what your plans are, and then they try to influence your plans by saying, doing it this way. Why don't you, in my case, make your film, but make it a blend with Cypher Man? Because here we have a guy from Cypher Man from Marvel Comics who wants to work with you too. Make a blend with Scorsese, the director. Because here we have a CIA infiltrator who's trying to handle and act like he's a friend, saying you're going to write with him. They want to work with you together. And so it's more like an Amway salesman than a friend. They're always heading a certain direction, taking that sheet up to the next thing they want on their chart. We want to see your evidence. We want to see this. Send it to me. And then they'll barrage you with tasks that take you off time-sensitive things you need to be doing, accomplishments you need to get done, and take you away from actual family, loved ones. Suddenly, it's like turning the light switch slowly up on the dial in your room where you're not really noticing the increments. And slowly, like gaslighting, slowly you realize this person's taking up all my time and they keep pushing for these same things. They keep taking me off track, pushing to take me off track while pretending to be a great friend. So I don't know if that helps, but that's one of the main jobs of a player. And they'll refer to themselves as players, handler/player. Sometimes they'll
you were saying there's like different layers to this and how they all work together. I would definitely imagine that there's a big conglomerate of them. It's not just one or two people harassing you. There would be, this is what they do, right? This is how the cabal operates. They operate by instilling fear because there's nothing about free will and choice there. It's all about do as I say, your mind, and if you don't, you're going to get whacked, one from one level or the other. So, and when somebody like yourself is not playing ball with them, I would imagine there's a whole, especially when it's got this important information, I would imagine there's like a spider web of these guys and women, and there's a couple of them all spinning in a different direction with a different pattern, that makes sense.
That makes a lot of sense. And
so to all try and get you entrapped.
from point A to point B that they need
Yes.
to be. Yeah. And
So
even
can you explain to us as much as what you can how that works? What who are the spiders and where do they come from? Who
well,
sends them?
the Cabal, FBI, CIA, Secret Service. I mean, we've got a wonderful situation here where you got an individual that was important in my life that you see a night and day switch in 2016. She goes from being the person crying on your shoulder saying, if it wasn't for you, I'd be dead. And I'm playing wind beneath my wind beneath my wings at my wedding, dancing with you as my brother. And then you see the complete switch when she gets with the congressman, FBI operative.
But that, to me, Tom, that is very indicative that her mind's been tampered with.
Yeah.
And what I would say about that is that obviously, if you and your brothers, the rest of your siblings were tampered with as kids, um, she's also been. I mean, I remember we did a show a few weeks back where you spoke about how each one in the role
Mm-hmm.
in their family, is basically groomed for an individual type of personality type. I would imagine that she would have been groomed for this as well. So, the way I see this is that I really feel for people. I do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she was also a little kid. She was also innocent. She also went through hell in her own way
Mm-hmm.
to, and now she's literally a puppet. So to me, that's not even her speaking.
No, that's how I
That's
see it too. That's how I see it too. And
that's another entity that's kind of taken over and operating
well,
through
they took
her.
advantage of it. They took advantage of a situation that should have had help. She should have been
Yeah.
helped. Instead, they took. We now know. I've had people contacted me too, and I've been looking at myself now. The 9 out of 9 markers for borderline personality disorder. Now we know why they were able to employ that and take advantage of that, where the person feels they're going to be abandoned, and so they need that void filled. So they used
They
reward
magnify
to do it.
they're so good at smelling out vulnerabilities, right? These
Mhm.
guys, I mean, they smell out the vulnerabilities and they're going to play those vulnerabilities all the time. We all
That's
have
right.
our vulnerabilities. Thank God I wasn't taken in and had my vulnerabilities exploited.
Hmm.
Honestly,
Hmm.
so I think that's really what the situation is. They see where the
100%.
vulnerabilities are,
That's what it
they
is.
exploit them. So now it's clear that she's being handled,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm. Oh
By
yes, that's on
someone.
tape
Yeah,
from Contacts. Yeah, Disney
yeah.
Contacts.
So how does that whole system work? She's just one of them, one of the arrows they're using to get to you, no
Mhm.
doubt. And not just you. I'm also asking for other, like a lot of these celebrities. I mean, just look at what's happening with Kanye West at the moment as well. He's
Mhm.
coming out. I mean, he's like dropping some big truth bombs. I actually wouldn't
Tom
mind
Althouse.
asking you about that
Mhm.
after we've spoken about this.
Mhm.
But yeah, just like explain to us how that whole spider web works.
Absolutely. The reason I brought her up again too was because I wanted to show I have like basically a scientific um, lab situation where I'm able to see the total difference of the character and what to watch for, so others can watch for these signs of what she
Yeah.
said was success and power. She's into now. She's not a peacemaker. Well, there's the core: success, power, arrogance, image. That's what they all have in common when they're on the strings and they're bought. But the spider web works from the top down, and the top really is those that control everything, which basically are the banks and the cabal. There's no wonderment that the brother-in-law who got his job in 2016 when he was unemployed was with the banks. And then the banks pulled it, like Mary Poppins, pulled it when he failed at the 302s. He's been on screaming with Juliet, my mom, put them away, you gotta do it, screaming, yelling. And it's like,
Hang on, who are
and
you talking about now?
my
Who are you
brother-in-law,
talking?
my brother-in-law,
Okay, is this your sister's
sister's
husband?
ex-husband now. They got
Ex-husband?
divorced after they failed the 302. We predicted they'd be divorced. They got divorced.
Okay, explain to us how that worked. Maybe just explain to us how your
Well,
brother-in-law and
right.
sister were obviously married, and they were meant to get you 302, right?
They weren't doing that great at all. And so what happened was, here comes Fitzpatrick in 2016. Brian Fitzpatrick just got reelected. Involved in Ukraine, is from Hollywood, Wilshire Boulevard FBI building, and lifelong FBI. Still gets the For Your Eyes Only on his desk. I have a picture of it at his office. And so what you have is, when I was dropping off a letter, you have him giving them both rewards and positions, and like they offered me. And because I have the card, please extend every courtesy to Tom Althouse FBI. So they gave all this, life suddenly became enamored and beautiful and strong, and success and rewards. And if they did dirty work, and they did the dirty work. But once they failed at the task, the cabal doesn't suffer failure. Now they're cut off. The brother-in-law's cut off, had to sell the mansion. And that's after having maid service for even cleaning the floorboards. And now the jobs are taken. They make you, they'll break you.
So what you said was, when they didn't get it right,
they didn't get it right.
You locked away in a mental facility after they tried to get you 302'd.
Right.
Did they get a divorce? So
right afterwards, when they were bragging they're going to get this brand new remodeled kitchen, most expensive range, they brag about the rewards. It's another marker to watch.
So was this a planned divorce, or did it happen naturally of itself? Was it an orchestrated one, or did it just happen because the pressure was too much? I'm just trying to figure out the lengths they go to.
I think Andy couldn't take being this guy anymore, because to make this work, he had to get the rewards. He had to scream at an elderly woman dying of cancer. He had to get the brother-in-law, myself, that we've always been great together, to destroy him, almost like the mafia saying, off this guy, and prove yourself to the mafia. So he was doing the dirty deeds over the top with her. And I think he got tired of doing it and said, I can't do this anymore. Would you want to have a wife that has a personality disorder that's like bipolar? And it's going to be hard. And so now his personality is changing, where after he's cut off from the cabal, now he claims to be faithful and just into religion and things like that. Total change back is his claim. Could be a cover. So what you have is an important point, I think, is it's not just the individual that's approached in your life. It's those around them often that are approached with them. So you have a group brought in often that know what's going on and are interconnected in their efforts.
Like close family or friends. That's what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. I would imagine those are the people, if they're trying to get to someone like yourself, they're going to go for your close family and friends. Like, obviously, you guys have been groomed since childhood already to be in certain ways. Right. So now your sister, obviously they needed your sister to step in at a certain time, because I know that this is how these guys work, from what I'm understanding. Certain things happen at certain times. So your sister would have had to step in at a certain time to do things, her husband. And so now he doesn't like this. So they get a divorce. And then what happens to him?
He's off on his own now. He basically becomes a non-entity, unemployed, cut off.
Are you saying he lost his job because they didn't get you 302? Did he lose his job?
Everything's gone. It's gone. So now he has the proceeds of the mansion, but selling it. But the thing is that was after the London trip, where they're bragging about how they're getting the best things, take the best trips. Julie is still valuable to them, to their side, because she can still bring her brother down and go after her mom, and has cut all family off from Aiden and my mom. All cousins are gone, and he employs them to do dirty work. And it's amazing how they jump to and do.
I was going to say, because this is, and sorry to keep interrupting you, but I'm just really trying to understand trying to get to the bottom of this, because it's like what Jan is actually saying, and it's true. It's like gang stalking, but they get your closest people to you to do it, and you never know who's who in the zoo, because even though you might see be seeing immediate shifts within your sister's character, right?
Mm-hmm.
There might be those that are more creeping in there, more deceptive. You know, you don't even know that they've got the sword or the knife in for you, right? So it just seems to me that that's what they do. And I'm sure that this must be a lot more common than what we imagine in these types of
Oh,
situations.
yes. If you're high on the list, that's why they have Terminal List out now as a popular show on Amazon. Like I said, the main character's name is the main character from the original Matrix, Immortals, Jim Reese. So that's the character I named. That's the name of the terminal list. That's a message saying you're on a terminal list. Pat Robertson, Religious Right, said you're on this list, this black list. You're on the list. So that's what they're mocking. So there are individuals that are on a list by the FBI and this conglomerate in the cabal. And the reason we're on that list is because of things we created that whisper through art in some cases about what they're doing. And you can't get better than what I have right there. That copyrighted original screenplay talks about the CIA being the baddies and how they're doing what we're talking about. And so, of course, they're going to want to launder that work since they work with the film industry. And that's after giving me that card that said, please extend every courtesy to me, because I was being recruited at the same time. And then they cut me off, just like they cut Andy off, the brother-in-law now. So what you have is it's a very much a dog and bone situation where you do what they want or else they feel they have the power.
Yeah.
And that's why all these Illuminati things have been sent to me recently, where I'm supposed to give myself over to Satan. What? And then your son will be safe. What? And you'll have dinner with David Rockefeller quote. What? I don't think so. I think I'll just keep my faith and try to make a difference in the world. Thank you very much. And what you need to do is what I've learned is, on a side note, is act cordial with these people. Try to. The only time they can rattle me, where I do yell at players, is when they attack my son or my mom after all they've been through. When they personally attack them and put them down. And they'll do that with players. Then I will blow up. I will get righteously angry. And they record that. And so they'll take that and they'll put that out there as, look at him raging. Well, why did I get angry? And I think I have every right to get angry, and I'll get angry again if certain loved ones who've been through hell are put down so badly. You will see my anger. I will respond, not physically, but I will verbally respond.
But that's so true, because even the times that I've had these stalkers after me, I mean, there'd be a time, and you can see, you know, they would target Jesse, they would target someone else, and then they'll come for me. Not nearly as bad as for example, Jesse and you, but because I obviously do the shows and provide a platform, as one of the Christians said, like, you know, I'm included by, you know, I'm just there by association. So tough luck for you, Chantal. You're there by association. That's what a Christian says to me, who is now stalking me, accusing me of spell casting and casting spells on her. I rebuke your spells. I mean, she's telling me this. I just start laughing. I say, oh my God. I said, I don't even know who you are. And quite frankly, I wouldn't even waste my energy. But they try that all the time. They try to gaslight you. And, you know, they'll do it in a way which is, so anything like that. I mean, you know, for me, the way I see that as someone in the public, obviously you that was born into this, it's different for you because you will move into, I mean, you're obviously involved, you've got the family, etc. You're much more targeted. But it's like for the general public, I would definitely say anyone who is blatantly going out there, like on a witch hunt for another person, that is a cabal member. Honestly, when they start being nasty, when they start getting violent with their words, getting, you know, like all coated in Christianity. Honestly, they love to use Christianity to sugarcoat their satanic ways.
Yes,
Honestly, they do.
Yes, they do.
So they're always going to pose as Christians. Most of them will pose as Christians because they understand this is the biggest platform, right?
Yeah.
So anyone who is vicious with their words and goes out there and tells you they're doing this because this is what God tells them to do, God will never, ever, ever tell you to gang stalk someone. Ever.
No, no,
Ever.
no.
So the minute you are part of a gang stalk or following someone who's gang stalking someone else, I want to tell you that is not from God. That is someone who's got a very nefarious agenda, honestly.
That's right. That's right. And you'll notice something too. I'm glad you expressed all that because it's really, really important. You led me to something too. They will do basically the Schindler's List thing. What they'll do is like the Herr Schindler gone bad. What I mean is this. They will have a group come to you. We had one that actually called themselves Immortals Remnant, Royce Babcock, and he called himself the Three Wise Men. Well, they were FBI, failed at everything they did, and they formed this group where they were like, we're going to do research and bring your stuff forward. They try to head off the actual teams that are going to work with you by putting themselves forward to work with you, but they never do any research. They never make the casings right. They never do anything. You'll see in hindsight, they never did a shred of research. They just took up your time and did ludicrous things to take up your time that showed. And then this Royce Babcock actually claimed he was Jesus Christ. Now, why is he doing that? Why is he saying these things? They tried to inadvertently get me to like even nod or agree in a conversation with a person saying, I'm Jesus Christ. And they'll go that far. That's like turning the dial up, where they'll say, I gave you that screenplay, this Royce Babcock. I gave you that screenplay. It came through me to you. Now, if you respond even politely, even with a or you're trying to think of where's Crazy Town now, what just happened, they'll take that and say you agreed. You're crazy. And so this Royce Babcock is the guy who still contacts hosts, documentary team, everything else, and has this group with him, Immortals Remnant, where they say, find anything you can about him, find anything you can, and we'll spread it to this host and that host to get him to cut him off. That was the purpose of the group. Then you find the one person in the group actually is the one that sent the messages, and you have it on tape, where they said to the person you were with at the time, to gaslight him, pretend you like him, to go along with it, record him, get him upset, record it, and do this, and we'll get more material we can use. Get him to talk about certain hosts, and we'll get that material to use to get him cut off. Wow. And they say they're working with the FBI. I actually contacted one of those ladies that was working with the one lady I was with, and she wasn't going to give me the information. The one I was with wasn't going to give me the information. Like, where's the trust in the relationship? And so when I finally get it, I see when she finally gives it to me, it's got this thing saying about how she's contacted by the FBI, this girl named Krista, contacted by the FBI on 3 to 4 hours on a Saturday. And she says they're going to watch him. They're watching him closely. I can tell you that. They always throw that out there. And then the other one that was in the group, this other woman that was playing along as if she wanted to be with me, she would say that she's taking the phone calls in her closet so her husband doesn't hear, and had multiple names for this character. And so she's trying to slow drip you into, while pretending that she's going to do research as this group, get you to see like you're almost like you're somehow setting up an affair. It's unbelievable how they play it. And they know what to do. And then she admitted on tape that she was given direction to work with the woman I was with to get her to pull me down, but she was told to. It's on tape for the documentary. Royce Babcock is the one that claimed, and his wife was part of this too, and boy, were they shady. Still doing it. Saying, the FBI is going to get you. They're coming for you. The FBI is going to come. I'm Jesus. I'm God. And said that they claimed they were homeless. They have criminal records. Claimed they were homeless. That they're going to have this mansion with a pool and everything when they're done. It gets vicious when there's groups involved. And you'll see people that you love approached by groups they don't know. And so I know one of mine is called Immortals Remnant. And they are never going to stop. That's another key they play. They're never going to stop. So when it gets to this level where they're so desperate they want to take your material and claim it, they'll even say that far that they'll try to get you to agree that they channeled it to you, that they sent it to you. It's like you're in a world where you're going, where are we? Is this Oz or is this real life? But they want that so they can then drag you off with SWAT team and
They
say,
channeled it to you.
they call you delusional. It's like, I'm sorry. What? So keep in mind, my sister, again, she's handled. They're exploiting her condition. Borderline personality disorder is nothing to laugh at. That's very serious. And they're using it, filling her void with these rewards that keep increasing like a heroin addict with a bigger fix. And then she'll leave you alone while she's got her latest reward, which was a proclamation entered into the congressional records about her. For what? For trying a 302 and she failed? Why? That's how far this is going. But you can spot the tiers of who, what strata, and you can spot the tactics. You can spot the talking points. If you hear over and over, you're delusional, and they seem like they're fixated on that word. The mainstream media does the same thing. Terrorism. They feed it repeated. So if you've got somebody you're not sure if they're a friend, they came in your life and you're being nice, it's like you're having coffee going, something doesn't feel right. And they're using certain words suddenly on you that line up with the words used on others. It's like a playbook term that they want to throw. And delusional is one they want to throw all the time. They always throw that word. So, yeah.
They love it. Or insane. Love
to
tell
insane,
you
crazy.
insane.
Crazy, and then terms, In my sister's case, what they have is they have her projecting what she actually projected through buying off this clinician. She put into the record or handwritten notes that the lady was supposed to say borderline personality disorder, and also bipolar 1 and 2. That's what my sister has. So why that's being projected? Because she doesn't want to be embarrassed about herself. That's why she entered the psych field. She puts it on someone else, and they exploit. But the thing is, if I had what she claims, you would see me blowing up all the time. Now, passion, you'll see passion because we believe we keep our core intact of who we are. We don't change that core. Passion is part of it. But you don't see a person suddenly raging and then coming back to and then raging. You'll see emotion. You'll see a person. But you won't see these enormous swings where I'll hold up a clip, as she did to my mom, where I'm saying on this clip, I really look forward to the horror ending. And screaming at you on the screen, look, that means she's going to kill me. She's going to kill me. She's going to shoot me. That's borderline personality disorder being exploited by the FBI.
Yeah.
And then when she told my mom, real quick, she told my mom, holding it up, playing it over and over, this clip she was given, if you don't agree with me that he's evil, then you don't love me. That's borderline personality disorder right there. Huge right there on a marker. Because you're abandoning me if you don't agree to hate this person based on delusional material.
That's just batshit crazy.
It is. It's off the deep end. And they're feeding it by giving it's like heroin addict, like I said, higher and higher rewards. So you're right. A lot of these players are in a rough situation. They may be unemployed. They may feel like they failed at life. The inside actually calls them D players. So they don't take the sharpest, they take the most vulnerable, the most needy, and give them all these rewards and wow them by saying, we're the FBI. We're in your living room. Imagine in your living room on a Saturday for 3 hours and 3 to 4 hours. And we need you. We want you. Well, the first thing they're going to do is brag about it, Shanti. They're going to brag about it. And that's what they did.
Yeah, they're going to make you feel important. So they're going to, as you say, then we need you on our team. We need your help. Can you help us? They'll make you feel important. They're going to boost your ego.
That's it. Fill the void. Fill that void, which never gets really filled until your mental needs are addressed and given help. That's what I'm out to do now. Now I understand what the condition she has, and along with others, I'm looking for her to get the help she needs. That's what I want. I want my sister back. Now that I know that it's a disorder that's causing her to do this, even though it's criminal what she's done, and even murdered my dad by starving him to death as a POA, refusing to give him help. She felt abandoned by my dad because he was begging her to let him go home, that he wanted to see Tom, let him go home, let him eat, and she refused and had him drugged And then he starved to death in 40 days. But she shows no remorse about that. Nothing. Walked out of his funeral.
That would just show me how affected her mind is, honestly.
It's all reward-based. All reward-based.
But it's almost like there's parts of her that have been shut down.
Yes.
And it has to be shut down in order for her to do what she's doing.
It's called putting your feelings in the freezer. The FBI actually uses those phrases.
But they would have done that to her. That would have been part of her control, the mind control that they would be using on her.
From the outset, you're told, you can't matter. Don't try to make a difference. Put your feelings in the freezer. Are you willing to do this? And you'll have these rewards. And the rewards they're waving you with the FBI present is huge. What happened to me? Why did I get the card, the FBI card? Please extend every courtesy, Tom Althouse. Because the FBI took me out to dinner. Their heads took me out to dinner after I was involved in America's Most Wanted season premiere. And they give you a lot of flattery. They tell you how you got so many aptitudes. That's why it's in the screenplay in the interrogation scene. And I'd love sometime to read to you a couple pages of the interrogation scene, the first scene I wrote, and the scene where they stuck my high school birthday, 9/11, dad's name, in the first graphic. First scene they shot was the first scene I wrote. And when you hear that, it unmasks what's going on right now. I tried to read it the other day and got teary reading those entries that apply now, which were conformed in 1989 and 93. Now they apply more than ever. That interrogation scene is key. And that's where the CIA stuck March 11, 1962. They stuck it in that graphic with my name and everything else and birthday and dad's name and high school. Because that's Operation Northwoods. March 11, 1962, in the first graphic in the Matrix, with my name, Thomas A., my dad's name, John, is Neo's dad, my high school, Central West High, my birthday, as it was corrected and wrong in records at that time, July 22nd, is Operation Northwoods. The reason they have March 11, 1962, instead of when it was laid on Kennedy's desk in March 15, 1962, 4 days later, is because it was a Sunday. March 11th was a Sunday when the CIA, these operatives got together and decided to craft Operation Northwoods into a letter to put before the president at the end of the week. And that's why March 11th, 1962, is in the first graphic. And now we know, thanks to Oliver Stone for the documentary, we know now it's going in the documentary. Wait till you see it. Now we know why they put that in there, because the Wachowskis put in the next page, 9/11. False flag. What's Operation Northwoods? False terrorist acts will be done on U.S. citizens to propagate false flag wars. And that's the CIA did it. And there's my passion show.
Yes, yes.
See?
Funny, Candace Owens was talking about that this week. I think it was Candace Owens, which is very interesting. And that whole, but also then you look at Operation Mockingbird as well, which was the whole media putting out bullshit in the media.
Well, it's too true. And there it is in the first graphic from the first scene in here that was written, the first scene they shot, it's in there. Now we understand what that entry is. It's the CIA putting their thumbprint right on there, thinking nothing would ever be done about it. Nobody would catch on. And now we know that March 11th is more important than March 15th. March 11, 1962 is more important than March 15th, 1962. The insiders at the CIA would know that, because that's the Sunday when you're not at your jobs where phones can be tapped. You are at a gathering, crafting the instrument carefully that'll be laid on the desk of the president 4 days later on Thursday, on March 15th, 1962. It is phenomenal. So, outlast them, keep your character intact, stay on target, love your loved ones. Don't be swayed. Learn to spot the shills, learn to spot the plants, and realize what true friendship is. The gold lining of all this is that it makes you a better friend. It allows you to value your friends even more that are true friends, and even look up those that you may have lost, because now you realize who they are and what they embodied, and you value it. So thank you to those that are plants that allowed you to see the Grinch that tried to steal Christmas, so you can appreciate those little creatures that actually are the real friends that just want to sing around the Christmas tree. I think it's amazing. They did us a service, actually. They
Yeah,
took us to school and we paid attention and we learned. So they educated us and we're using it for good.
absolutely. We're turning it around.
Turning
And
around.
that's so good. That is really so good. And that's what you're saying. I mean, it's like we're going back to the whole blue pill, red pill thing again. In the movie, we're told to take in the Matrix, that is, we're told to take the red pill because that's the one that wakes you up, so to speak. But it's actually, that's inverted, because the red pill is actually the adreno pill, the
Yes.
adrenochrome,
Yes.
that keeps you in the Matrix, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, the blue pill would be the one that takes you out the Matrix because it's coming from your eyes, the color of your eyes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And look at how it is in reality. It's interesting they put the blue pill, red pill together, like we said, because in the original screenplay, it's just the red pill you're offered. That's it. Because that's how it's done in reality. See how they twisted it? Like you said, they twisted it. You said it so well. In reality, you're only offered the red pill by the cabal. The red pill doesn't say, here, choose. No, they say what's in the original screenplay. Take this or else you and your family will die. Take this red pill. You join us with the blood of the children. You join us or else you lose everything.
Yeah.
There's no choice. There's no both hands up. There's only one. It is the underground, the real truth-telling people. You're going to see a lot of them say, you're going to see a lot of good people say, I'm no longer part of the truther community. I'm just going to do what I can. They're not roped in anymore to this game. That's the blue pill. That's when you're offered the blue pill. Blue for truth, red for bad. Ask a child, any child basically, what do you think would be the good one? The red or the blue? Most people are going to say the blue would be good.
Blue. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So thank you for raising that. Very good. So yeah, it's a reality. It's you only offered the red pill. That's all you're offered by the cabal.
Exactly. Exactly. And the blue pill, which is coming from love as well, is exactly what will raise you or lift you, if you will, transcend you.
That's right. And with painful side effects. And the screenplay says it has painful side effects. It's not perfected. But isn't that what we are? What we're experiencing? If you go against the cabal and all the players they send to you, and you take that blue pill, in its essence, to do what's right, there's painful side effects. You're going to suffer the cabal's wrath. And that's after they offered you rewards. They want you to know what you'll be missing. And they'll give you a taste of those rewards. And I had a taste of those rewards. I had a pre-meal when I was at the David Rockefeller's group at Colonial Williamsburg. I was given the world. I hadn't agreed to do anything. I was just doing shows and producing and everything else. They flooded me with income and everything. That's when they gave me the card. But the thing is, I got a foretaste before they made the offer. So I had the high tea before they offered tea, the high position.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
I said, yeah. So isn't that something? They give you the taste first. Here, have a sample.
But it's the temptation, right? Because look at this. Isn't this whole, because the cabal is pretty much, they're Luciferians.
Oh, they
so
are.
Luciferianism was all about tempted. This is what it's about.
That's
but
right.
when you trust in love and in your spirit and in a higher being, you don't need that temptation because the rewards are that much higher. And
absolutely,
you can't explain that to someone who's still entrenched in the red pill, because it's very difficult for people in that situation to even begin to think that life without money or half your money or a quarter of your money is actually enjoyable.
That's right.
That's what I'm saying. People can't begin, when you're in that space, they can't imagine that life without your trinkets and your frills and everything that you have is actually enjoyable to live.
Exactly. And that's how they keep him in the Luciferian sector, is they make it that, look, you and your family will not have these glorious rewards that my sister keeps bragging about now.
Yeah.
Suffering from her illness. Unless you do what they want. And so it makes them feel like well, I have all this. And Pat Robertson even says this. Pat Robertson even says, those that are successful, rewarded, are blessed by God. Those that are not successful are apart from God and are wannabes that wish they had what successful had. He goes far to, he says that. He says that successful ones are blessed by God. Well, that's great for the cabal. What a great philosophy for them, right? Yeah, not a very interesting thing. There's also something to watch for. Don't put too much weight on it. I would say to audiences is that, or to friends, is you're required to wear a color 3 days a week as a signal to others that you're still committed to the cabal. And that's what's so interesting, that you watch the sister in this case. All the time she gets the rewards. What color is she wearing? Shoes and dress. What pills did you talk about? It's not blue. It's red, blood red. And she wears it all the time. And my mom pointed out too, she never wore that before. She wore green and others that offset her eyes, green eyes. You know, she was a very beautiful girl. Green eyes.
Which is very interesting, because that brings me to the question that I was saying earlier on about Kanye West. Now, I don't know if you guys have been following that. I mean, I'm certainly no Kanye and Kardashian fan, but this stuff comes up, and I really enjoy Candace Owens, and she speaks about him a lot. Kanye West is coming out talking about blood sacrifices and how, you know, the MK Ultra in Hollywood, stuff like that. What I really enjoyed as well is that Tucker Carlson from obviously Fox actually did a piece on it. So it actually
I like him.
Yeah, so it actually makes it more relevant. But, you know, Kanye, you know, I mean, he speaks about that. He says, you know, and this is what worries me about him. And I'm going to tell you why. Because lately he's become more Christian, right, in his music and singing gospel music the last couple of years. Okay. Yes, he absolutely spoke about the Kardashians, had his meltdown, has come out. But then he speaks about Bill Cosby, a whole lot of the Hollywood stars that had someone sacrificed in their family. John Travolta was one, Bill Cosby was another, everything. But he says, and they sacrificed my mother. Now, I don't believe that. Kanye had his mother sacrificed. To me, that's as simple as that. If you look at the time as well, not long after that, the shows he was doing, he was wearing red. Now, we talk about that red as well, because to me, that is, again, the color red in the cabal. And I'm pleased. I like red as well. So if you see me wearing red, yeah.
Right. But not 3 times a week.
It doesn't mean I sacrificed my mother. You know, for more viewers or something. But what I'm saying is that is something very pertinent. Okay, so speak to us a little bit about on that. What, just the whole Kanye West thing, and what's your take on that right now?
Well, isn't he the one that spoke out about, you know, all lives matter? Wasn't it Kanye West? Yes.
Him and Candace Owens. Him and Candace Owens with
very
the
brave.
White Lives Matter.
Very brave to do. Very brave to do. That tells me that's not somebody who's reward driven. See, that's somebody who's taking a great leap and a great chance. Those that are reward driven won't take that chance. They'll do whatever they're told to do. You know, they'll do whatever it is for the next fix, the next reward, the next, you know, mattering and power and success. That's what it is, success. So right out of the way, my heart goes out to him, because he's one of those ones that took the front line. And something would be very unpopular. He's going to take the stones and the slings and the arrows. And people with that kind of courage, I lift them and I celebrate them. And this planet is a lot less lonely when you have those that will do that. I have a former friend of mine that told me that he's not going to speak up about what happened publicly or for the documentary team, and said he'll be silently in the back. Well, after all these years of friendship, he said he was a witness to everything that went on. So I said, I have tons of people that will silently watch in the back. I had counted on you to do what you told me way back in the friendship, which made our friendship deeper, that we'd always stand for each other. So basically, adios. It's like, no, you know. So yeah, so Kanye West is the opposite. He's standing up there. He's going the front line. That's what we need. People that can take a stand and speak up and say, I'm standing with you. And they know that we're
But what
standing.
I'm really enjoying about this as well, he's exposing his trainer, who's also his handler,
Right.
and he's exposed messages between the two of them where the trainer threatens to send him back into zombie land and all sorts of things like that, where he's basically saying they're going to mess with his mind. That's
Absolutely.
being exposed. So
They're
it's just
coached
great.
on how to do it. They're coached on how to do it. In my
Yeah.
situation, the one person I was with, one of the last things she said to me was, if you leave me, I'll destroy you. And it was like, well, if you're lying to me all the time, I can't be around that. I won't subject my son to that. I won't be a part of that. I can't
Yeah.
be around lies. And what happens is you catch them in a lie, and here's how it goes. You ask them, so give them an opportunity to tell the truth. You know what's what. You have the proof. You saw it. And they lie anyway. And then you expose, well, I was asking this because I was hoping you'd come through and give me a truth for once. Give me a truth. They turn it and go, you set me up. No, I didn't. It's just you and me.
Yeah.
And I'm saying I was doing it so you could tell the truth and show me that we live. I can't be with a liar.
Yeah.
And so you
Exactly.
catch them in the lie and they accuse you of setting them up. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's how they play. That's how they'll get people to play. These are people they bring in and turn. So you have the turners and you got the players and the handlers. The handlers make mincemeat of those that have a price that can be turned. And you watch them change. That's where the tragedy is. Those that you could have had a good life with that sell out. And then they're very secretive with you. They don't want to show you. Then they'll slip and show you evidence. And you're like, oh my God, you held this back from me. They were asking you to gaslight me, record me, bring me down, and destroy me, and you never showed me this? And then they'll use excuses. Well, I didn't want you to be hurt. What? That's the world, like you said, the spun, like this, whatever, you're turned upside down, of those that are turned. It's a hellish world. If you take that red pill, you're in a hellish world where you have to deceive those you love. And when she was saying to me, you're abandoning me, I think she actually felt that. But I'm not going to have my son and I exposed to blatant lies and bringing us down. I can't, even if you're threatening to destroy me if I go. And it hurts me to go. So we have to make tough choices in this web. Like you said, this web they spin. We've got to make tough choices. If one of our loved ones is caught in that web, the only way we can help them is to get away from that web, which means we're getting away from them. And then we can deal with that sticky issue, the sticky threads. It's hard. It's very hard.
But when you are strong in your spirit, you know who you are. You know that we are all created we are creative beings. We are master creators. We've come here to create, and we can really create amazing abundance for ourselves without having to sell our souls and drink the blood of anything else.
Well, you just hit something so important. I want to share this. Is they want us to believe that everyone's our competition. The cabal works on this idea, and they drip feed it through the media and everything else, that everyone around you is your competition. You're competing for resources, for life, for fame, for fortune, for importance to matter. And what we need to hold on to, and I think we need to actually view it again, is that every single life is a miracle and has value. If we fix that in our mind, even to the worst of the worst, that every single, and I'll flip on this sometimes. I'll flip sometimes and get upset and go, you'll hear me sometimes say, some of these people don't deserve it, put them in the chair. But now I'm saying at our core, if we can grasp every life matters, how fragile life is, how valuable life is, our elderly, our youth, our children, everything, how valuable life is, every single life. We have an insulation from protection from the cabal. because the cabal wants you to believe differently. So
Yes.
hold on to that and embrace that. And soon you'll be celebrating again. You'll be out in the public greeting people and encouraging people. I love your dress. I love your hair. I love your suit. You'll be giving compliments. You'll be lifting people. You'll feel good. And another key is this: when they bring you down and you feel isolated and alienated, you can induce a state of joy. You can tell your body and your spirit, I am joyful. By doing that, your mind's going to find reasons to justify it. It's amazing. You can take nothing out of nothing, create joy. And I can tell myself, even in the worst of times where they'll hit me the hardest and I'll lose a loved one, I am joyful. I'm going to be joyful. And then my mind comes up with reasons for it. It's amazing.
Absolutely.
You get the feeling and it follows.
Your cells are listening. It's exactly the cells in your body are listening to every word you say, every thought you think, every emotion you have.
Yes. And I can hear some people say that get miserable, that's new age. No, it's not. That's harnessing the good, the pure in you and allowing it to come channeling through. So it allows you to harness it, release it, feel it, live it. And then what's interesting is you'll be told this. This is interesting. You'll be told you look younger. You look vibrant. My mom was just told that. She was told she looks 39. She's 90. And it's like, I'm being told that. I was like, you being told, like, you look so good, look so good. It's like, that's not something we're fishing for. It's just that when you carry that joy again. Now, the cabal will accuse you through shills, get this, of, why are you so happy when your sons are dead? It's like, my sons are with me. That's delusional. No, I feel their presence. Now, whether they are actually there or not, I am feeling their presence. I'm the daddy who feels their presence. Whether it's there or not, I feel it. I choose to feel it. I choose to celebrate them, lift them, and that's why I still have joy. I do this all dedicated to them. So they'll go that low. And that's why when my one brother is with my sister, in this weird relationship now, I wrote that I really missed Kirk, and I felt so bad about Kirk dying. He wrote back on my text I still have, ha, H-A exclamation mark. That's a cabal move, because this guy named Derek in Canada that the honeypot wife sent me to live with, Derek and Lorna, were handlers, and I know that. And when I wrote how Aiden and I missed Sean, what did Derek write on our phone in text? Ha! Exclamation mark on our Facebook. They use the same words to hit as hard as they can to try to foster despair. And that's what I'm saying. Watch for those repeated, enormous, like off the chart, wacko moves, like Royce Babcock saying from The World's Remnant, he's Jesus. Are you? No, you're not. But they want you to agree with it. And he'd actually say, why are you doing this to me? I'm commanded by God to help you. That's what my whole purpose is. Oh my gosh, I can't take it. And then he's there actually as a plant by the FBI where he's bragging about the rewards he's going to get. Yeah. So anyway, joy can be induced in ourselves if we have a good core.
It's a choice. It's a decision.
Choice.
Every moment
is a choice.
And hey, we can all vouch for the fact that there are just times we feel pretty crap, but at the end of the day, we can still choose to get up, breathe, smile, choose to do the right thing, and that immediately within itself evokes that joy.
And as friends, you're right. As friends, we say to each other, take as much time as you need. You have every right to feel whatever you feel, and I'm there for you as you go through it. And please call me anytime that you need to, if it gets rough. And so as we say, you can have joy and you can induce it anytime. You also have the right to feel whatever you're feeling. We do not levy restrictions or conditions on our friends. So it's like, if someone's grieving, take as much time as you need. And we understand. We're there for you. As much time as you need. because everybody heals differently.
Exactly.
So yeah,
Exactly.
sometimes that allowance allows them to heal. You know, you mean I could take
I
as
think
much
it
time
definitely does. Giving
yeah,
that person the choice, the space with love and
rather
with
than the pressure, rather than the
respect.
pressure to
Yeah,
be something. Yeah.
absolutely.
The last thing I want to
Absolutely.
say about the handlers and players, or those that are bought, they called it a chess game. Remember I said about the Cabal on tape for their documentary, the Disney contact saying you've won the chess game. Okay. What's important to realize is they see it as a chessboard. Everything's reduced. There's not much layers to the relationship anymore. You'll see the layers are gone. It seems very plastic, very superficial, where before it was rich with feeling and shared feelings and memories. The memories aren't recounted anymore. The feelings aren't there anymore. And it's cold, calculated. You have to do this basically. It's like they put you on a chessboard because that's how they view the world. Power, success, and you're their pawn. Get off the chessboard is what you need to do. And you can ask, where's the feelings? Where's the memories? In fact, if you bring up a positive memory, they'll react negative to that memory being recalled. Before, you used to laugh at that memory because it gets in the way of their agenda. They need you controlled. So you can spot that. The change in behavior and the change in tactics and the talking points will clue people how to spot someone who's been turned. And if you are going to, some people will say, well, I'm not that important. Well, if you have a project you're working on, or an artist or literary stuff that you've worked on that could cause you to have influence in the world, then the eyes are on you because you could have influence. That's the concern of the cabal. They don't want to lose their control and power. They don't want to lose their influence. And that's why they're saying, you know, you're a star player. They'll always tag you as somebody who's an asset, not a person. And if they can't get you to sign on the line, the dotted line, then they'll use your loved ones to make you do it.
Exactly.
That is the CIA.
You.
That's right. That's right. I don't know if people realize, but in Bay of Pigs, in Cuba, the CIA wanted Cuba to have a war with Cuba. They were trying to force Kennedy's hand. And so what they did was that's why they put Operation Northwoods on his desk. And they had the thing where they did the Bay of Pigs was not supported with aircraft or support systems, where of course it's going to fail. They were trying to force Kennedy's hand to bring us to war with Cuba by having those people sacrificed on that beach without the air support. They wanted Kennedy to call it in. So they're trying to, again, force you to make the move.
Yeah.
And I give you the CIA, the Central Imbecile Association. Yeah.
Tom, imbecile. So fun to always have you. And as always, time flies when we're having fun.
Oh, yeah.
So I want to say again, thank you on that note. Thank you so much for joining me today, and really, really enjoyed our conversation. Opens up a lot of things, and just gives us some information, something to look out for, because as we know, this is not a war that is filled with guns and things. This is a spiritual warfare that we're in. It's an information war. So as always, we just really have to stay tuned, stay connected, stay cool, stay kind, and really trust your intuition. Don't get love bombed and hold on.
And don't let people talk you away from the friendships you know that matter, the relationships you know that matter. And also, I want to throw in one more thing as we go. If you find yourself in a conversation that seems hyperactive, where your heart rate's going up and you feel uncomfortable, take it as a sign. Look at our conversation. Your friends will talk in a way that's shared, intimate, usually calm, and keyed in on each other. The other side will be hyperactive. It'll be often kind of this kind of thing. Like, you got to do this. I'm saying, no. If you don't, what are you talking about? That you need to get away from. That is a flag. Now I'm a performer, so I can act that out. You can imagine that clip's going to be used now. the clip will be used to say, look, he's crazy, but you'll know this is an illustration that I just performed of what you do not want. I hope people can identify that. If you identify with that little thing I just illustrated for you and acted out for you, it doesn't feel right. We're not wired that way. Don't engage in conversations where that is the meter and the rhyme, and that is how it feels. You don't want that. It'll disrupt your world and those around you and your loved ones. It'll take up your time. That's how they play it. That's the sound of it. That's the feel of it. That's the look of it. So just know that this is friendship. And those that are joined with us, that's friendship and love. Yeah. And I'm honored, and it feels like I'm glad I was here. Thank you.
Glad you made it, Tom. Okay, guys and girls, thank you so much for joining us. Loving your comments as always. So thank you. Appreciate you guys so much. God bless you all. And we will see Tom back in 2 weeks' time. Next week, Tuesday, we've got Andy Bond. So look forward to seeing you guys. We don't have Jessie this week, guys. She's traveling, and I know she's been off. We'll see her again beginning of December. So for those of you sending me your messages, where's Jessie? Where's Jessie? She's around. She's just off. She's traveling at the moment. So take good care, everybody. Love you all. God bless you. And we'll see you on the flip side. Cheers.